if you don't have to do things you don't like. Mary is going to lead us in our pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think Chuck Cotterman is going to do our invocation, and I just wanted to mention that we might keep Marge Laughlin in our prayers. As far as I know, she's still at Marquette in the rehab center, so keep her in your prayers. Thank you. And I have a card to sign. If you haven't, I will put it on the back desk.
Thank you, Mary. Today we'd like to do something a little more unique. I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for the 3 young men, including 2 freshmen, Indiana State football players whose lives were lost, and 2 men injured last Sunday near Terre Haute. Moment of silence. Please lift those up who love them, their fellow students, and the entire Sycamore School community. Amen.
Thanks. Kelly, is it Roger who's going to be the Roger? Roger's going to introduce our guests today.
All right, we got some guests there I'd like to introduce. Have them stand up if you would, please. Of course, we got our speaker here today, Mike Uremovich. I think that right. Uremovich.
Coach you, nobody can say my
Coach you. Stay standing.
Okay. If you would, please.
The Butler Assistant AD, Kim LaRose. I can't read. We've got small print here. Quentin Small. Yes, Tom Dunham. Dwayne Leatherman. Yes, Graham. My wife, Lonnie Cummings, is here today to join us. And Andrew Hanson. Harris. Can't read my own writing. Big round of applause for all of them.
Sorry about
Welcome to all of our guests. It's wonderful to have you. Let's see, there are a few announcements. First of all, we need to congratulate our former President Mac McWhorter for 48 years of membership in Kiwanis. Jean Ann Kirby, 10 years. And if you know any youth organization that might benefit from a Kiwanis Foundation grant, please share the application with them. The cutoff date is September 30. Is the application, Kelly, on our website? Okay. Last night, Roger and I had the pleasure to attend a joint meeting of the Indy Metro and Capital Divisions gathering. We learned a lot about volunteering with the Comfort Cart at Riley Hospital. And this is a cart that you wheel around, and it provides amenities to families who are there, maybe on short notice, to sit with their children and other guests that are there to visit the children who are hospitalized. Also, some of the families are staying overnight and need certain amenities, which this cart provides. Sign up. I'm on the 7th of September, if I get everything done that I have to get done medically, shots and all those sorts of things. I'll be volunteering and pushing the cart on September 7. So it should be really fun, I think. And really kind of a heartwarming and and really great experience. So think about it, and there are a number of days that I think it can be, you can sign up for. So all of that will be on our website, hopefully. Let's see, we have the opportunity, thanks to Duke and Wendy, for providing volunteer service to the children of our community. And there are a number of opportunities that are open to all of us. For example, we can volunteer at the Gleaners Food Bank on either Saturday, September 18 or October 22nd. The Riley Service Project is scheduled for September 17. Coats for Kids at the Colts game on October 2nd, a Sunday game. That's an attraction for football fans. Let's see. And all week, the week of October 10 through 15 at the State Fairgrounds for volunteering for Coats for Kids. There are more details about all of this on our weekly newsletter or on the website, as I said before, indykiwanis.org/service. And thanks again to Duke and Wendy for lining up and finalizing all these projects for us. Nancy is going to come up and make some very important announcements.
We have some terrific new programs that are coming up. We have Charlie Hyde from Benjamin Harrison Presidential Site on September 8th. Drew Tower on October 27th. He's with Project 44. That's working to save 44 lives through the bone marrow registry. And on November 3rd, we have a Zoom meeting with Kristen Grind, who wrote about the Zappos CEO. Any of you who are addicted to their shoes, sorry, you're married to somebody who is. Please begin thinking about guests who you might bring to one of those meetings. And Chuck, I believe, is going to make an announcement.
Put my steps in. This announcement is particularly salient this morning at noon today because Coach Uremovich is here, and wanted to comment a little bit more about our Kiwanis football banquet that we've been hosting since 1954, which just so happens to be my birth year. So it's been a while. And my hair is white now, so it's been 67 years. So anyway, enough about that. We have reached out to school principals to share the 4 youth recognition programs, the big 4 that we like to say for Marion County students, which is the Abe Lincoln Awards in February, the basketball state finals, the female athlete for Marion County, and of course football. Rob Schlegel, Bill Du Bois, and Roger Cummings are on the committee with me. And once again, we have been invited back to the Colts Pavilion, as you know, the Colts Gridiron Hall on December 1st. Now, you may have to correct your calendars because I think the last time I announced that it was December 8th. So back that up a week. It's December 1st. And which is a terrific venue. If you haven't been out there, you really, all you Kiwanis members need to be there because it's really a fantastic venue. It's connected to the playing field. And Rob's not here. Rob's our main connection to the Colts, but it's I think they'll be practicing. They sometimes practice while we have our venue or we have our event. It's been, what, Bill, 2 years since we've been there? 3 years? 3 years. Yeah, 2 COVID years. And we couldn't be out there last year because the NFL had a restriction on outside parties. But anyway, I said it was since 1954. All county composite teams, players and coaches selected by the coaches, and we'll award 2 $2,500 scholarships. Schools will nominate players, and if anyone would like to be involved with the selection, let me know. We'd love to have you involved. We're looking for people, members that would like to be on. Andrew, if you're interested in being on the committee, it's a good group. It's a lot of fun, and you'll be invited as a guest too, I'm sure, Coach. So, honored guest. And I'd also like to invite Eric up to the podium.
Yeah, thanks, Chuck. It's hard to follow news about the football program.
Oh, yeah, come on.
Last year we had Bill Brooks.
Yeah, Bill Brooks
at
was
Ivy
good.
Tech, which was a blast as a child of the 80s. Growing up and seeing him in the Hoosier Dome was particularly fun. The last time we were at the practice facility, Andrew Luck spoke. Is how long it has been. So no, that'll be a fun. We don't talk about Andrew Luck. That was amazing. Yeah, he was good then. And eventually, but no, certainly. So our annual golf scramble is Monday, September 19th. Edwin, we'll miss you and your hubby. So this year we're raising money specifically for Riley, the Carts for Kids that our president is volunteering with later this fall. Bob Baxter has been an omnipresent Kiwanis resident at Riley, helping this program for decades. So we're shooting to raise about 15 grand on that Monday, September 19th outing. Even if you're not a golfer, please come and participate. We won't have a Thursday lunch that week. Information is on the website. I want to personally thank Duke Cadet, Bill Du Bois, Ms. Mary Marsh, Steve Willem for their financial contributions, as well as Gelder Investment, George Weil, as our $5,000 title sponsor. Trent, there's still room for the $7,500 sponsor. I'll pay half. We have our name on the bottom Gelder. George here, and George is here. Okay. And my dad, Don, appropriately sponsored the beverage cart. So Plain Investment has the beverage cart. And that being said, on to Mr. Graham, thanks for your help today.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Beautiful day out there. We're having some great weather for August. I'm probably jinxing it, but it's been awesome. Before I introduce Coach Uremovich, I want to say a couple thank yous. You know, how do we support Butler athletics during the year and have the programs that we have and the facilities that we have? And we just have some great donors in the room, great alums in the room today. And Dwayne Leatherman right here, who is in his 40th year teaching at Butler. He started when he was 10. Mary Marsh, Mary and John, tremendous supporters of Butler, and also just a great Kiwanian. Greg Silver. Greg's father taught at Butler, I think, close to 40 years as well. Is that correct, Greg?
That's right.
Okay. Bill Du Bois, even though he's not a Butler alum, he's married to one and has a son who's a Butler alum, but tremendous supporter of Butler athletics. Art Kodroff in the back there, appreciate all you do as well. And if you want to be mentioned at a future program, just let myself or Ken know. And I want to say thanks to Ken LaRose. He's our associate AD. Ken was also our football coach. Lifelong connection to Butler. He's been one of the best colleagues I've ever had. He may not say that about me, but tremendous colleague. We work a lot together on fundraising and on different projects, so I want to thank him. I'm going to now introduce Coach Yu. I don't think I've screwed up his name yet, so I'm going to just go Coach Yu from here, who I believe had a birthday this week. Is that right?
Yeah, a couple days ago.
Okay. We're not going to ruin it by singing to you, but we will wish you a happy birthday. So Coach Yu is, he's only the 9th head coach of Butler's football program since 1935, when Tony Hinkle first led the Bulldogs. The first Butler team was fielded back in 1887. Anybody remember that team? He began his career here in Indiana coaching defensive backs and special teams at Lafayette's McCutcheon High School. His journey from McCutcheon to Butler included stints at Northern Illinois, first as a grad assistant, third as an offensive coordinator, and as a stint as the head coach at St. Francis. He was assistant head coach and offensive coordinator at Temple for the past 3 seasons. He's a 2000 graduate of Purdue, received his master's degree from Northern Illinois. He and his wife Katie have a daughter Ella and 2 sons, Michael and Drew. The last thing I would say, doesn't seem like he's been here that long at all, but just the energy, the enthusiasm he's brought to the program. A number of Butler alumni who've played football here, who unsolicited have said, Coach, you reached out to me, I'm really pumped up, fired up, and he just brought a lot of energy. So with that, he's going to give you some thoughts on the upcoming season. So Coach, you come on up.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me come out here today. You guys can all hear me okay? Okay. So I'm excited to be here. I've coached at all different levels. I've coached at high school, I've coached Division III, I've coached NAIA, I've coached Division I. I was an O-line coach at NC State. I've been at every level. And when the Butler position was open last year, I called a bunch of people that I knew that had coached here, and it just felt to me like it was the right place for me to be at right now. Okay, I've spent the last 13 years in Division 1A full ride football, and that is not what I signed up for now. It's not what it was 13 years ago. It's more about NILs and transfer portal and all these other things, and I got into college athletics to help kids. My high school coach had a huge impact on me, and I wanted to do that. I thought I was going to be a high school coach forever. I got an opportunity to coach college, and have been doing that ever since. But Butler was a great fit for me because our kids that I'm coaching right now, they love football. It's non-scholarship football. You got to love it to play it, and it's a full-time commitment. They were there at 6 this morning in the pharmacy building. See, we sneak in nice buildings in the morning and have our meetings because they got all nice technology and all that. So they were there at 6 a.m. this morning. They did our meetings. They'll go to class all day. We'll have practice this afternoon. So I'm really excited to be here. We have a lot of work to do. We have over 80 freshmen and sophomores on our roster right now. Okay, so it's like daycare sometimes. Okay, but they're going to be good players. They're great kids. We're going to continue to improve as the season goes on. I'm excited to get started with the season. What I ask of our players is 3 things, and I would say there are no talent requirements. It requires 0 talent to have great effort. 0. Like everyone in this room can provide great effort every day in whatever it is you're trying to do. Doesn't take any talent. The number 2 is to have a great attitude, which you control every day. Some things don't go your way. What are you going to do? How are you going to react to it? Are you going to let that define you the rest of the day? You step in a puddle on the way to work. Is now it automatically a bad day? You get a ticket on the way to work because I drive really fast. Is that a bad day? No, I gotta accept it and move on and have a great attitude because I can bring somebody else up around me that isn't having a good day. And then the last thing is accountability. And that is when we screw up, and we all will screw up, be accountable and say, I messed up. It's my fault. I'll fix it. And then try to fix it the next time. Those 3 things right now are not being taught in our schools to our children. They're being taught contrary to that. It's okay to give poor effort. We'll pass you anyways. It's okay to have a bad attitude because I'm sure something's going on at home that is going to justify whatever behavior you're displaying in school. And nobody is held accountable anymore for anything they do. That's an issue. And that's why we need football and we need youth sports to teach these kids this. Because they're not getting it at school, and a lot of them aren't getting it at home. So it's up to the coaches to provide it. And that's a great responsibility that I take very seriously, okay? But those things are not being taught in schools. So athletics provides an opportunity to show kids that they got to get up when they get knocked down, that they have to have a good attitude around their teammates, that they have to be accountable, because if the left guard goes the wrong way, the whole offensive play is shot, okay? And just as an example, okay, I have a very good friend that's a high school coach. Not going to tell you where, and some of you older guys in here, and younger guys, that have played football before, probably had this, or played any sport. It could be volleyball, it could be basketball, it doesn't matter, okay? He's got a junior quarterback, he's going to be a senior this year. So in the spring, he calls him in and he says, hey, Johnny, I need you to be a leader in the weight room. You're going to be our quarterback, you need to be a leader. I've had that discussion with a lot of players. Your boss might have had that discussion with you. Hey, we're gonna put this group together to do this project. We need you to lead it. So the next day in the weight room, they're doing sets of 10, and this kid does 8 and puts the bar up. So Johnny goes up to him, like his coach told him, and says, hey, you need to do 2 more. Everybody else in here did 10. You need to do your 10. Just do your part. Well, the kid refuses. They start to argue a little bit, and the kid leaves. That is great leadership to me. I would pat my quarterback on the back for that. I don't know if you guys agree with that or not. He's holding his teammate accountable, right? Well, when Johnny goes to school the next day, the kid that he tried to hold accountable is waiting with his parents, and they filed a bullying report. It'd be funny if it wasn't true. It'd be funny if it wasn't true. So they filed a bullying report. So guess what? Johnny can't participate in athletics until he's proven innocent now. So he can't lift or work out for 10 days. Then enough witnesses from the weight room all come forward and say, no, this is what happened, blah, 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 blah. But what was Johnny just taught? Don't hold anybody accountable. Just put my nose down, it's okay, let everybody else do what they want to do, because if I'm Johnny, I'm sure heck ain't doing that again. I'm going to miss a game my senior year. So believe it, it's not just not being taught, it's being taught not to do these things, okay? And I'm not being negative here, I'm just showing you what people are up against, and every opportunity we have as a coach in college, we have to take advantage of it to teach these guys that. I'm lucky at Butler, we have great kids. We have very little issues, okay? Very little issues, all right? But they are 18 to 22-year-old kids, and they do mess up. And I tell them, you're gonna mess up. Just come tell me what you did, be accountable, we can move on from it, okay? Some of us that went to college all did dumb things in college. The unfortunate thing for these kids now is everything they do is on video or pictures taken of it. Thank God there wasn't camera phones when I was in college. I'm just telling you right now. My wife tells me that all the time. I can't imagine if there was camera phones. But think about that now. Some of the dumber things you've done in your life, if someone was there to record it. Kids are supposed to make mistakes. That's how they learn from them. But these guys now, they can't because it's on video. And second of all, they put something on social media. That's not going anywhere. That's staying there forever. That's staying there forever. So they're under a lot more scrutiny. They're under a lot more pressure to do things right. And it's our job to help them do that. But I'm excited to be here. We start a week from this Saturday. We play St. Thomas at home at 1 o'clock. And then the following week we play at 6 o'clock. We play Taylor at home. And then we go to South Dakota State, who's the number 2 ranked team in the country. And then we get a bye. So we got 3 real good games coming up. We are young. I do like our kids. They're working very hard. We just ended camp. So today's our first practice of doing scout team work against the other team's offense and defense will be a part, which is good because as the last couple of days in practice, you start to get a couple fights and things like that because guys are just sick of practicing against each other. And that's usually when you're ready to go play. When you start seeing that happen, you're like, okay, let's go play a game. So I'm excited about that. Does anybody have any questions for me about Butler football or NIL or transfer portal or any of that stuff like that? Go ahead.
How are the kids protected with helmets these days? I think they've
A new helmet comes out every year.
And how do you, obviously you want to avoid concussions. So you're on that.
Yeah, I actually have nothing to do with it because I'm not a doctor. So and I'm not saying that in the wrong way, we have someone from Rydell come in and fit our players in helmets. So those helmets are fit to them. It's not like when I was in high school, they just said grab one out of the box over there. You know what I mean? That might explain a lot. But they get them fit for them, okay? And then they take what's called an impact test before the season. And that's a computerized test that asks them questions and looks at things. And then if something happens to them, like they got a concussion symptoms, they're immediately pulled out. And it's at least 10 days. But they have to pass the impact test. And then they got it's a protocol of 7 days. Okay. So once you feel 0 symptoms, you're still 7 days away. And what'll happen is the guy who feels 0 symptoms will start bringing him along the protocol, and about 3 days in, he starts to get headaches again, and they start it over. We don't mess with any of that. The worst thing that can happen is the second concussion after you've had one is what they've shown. But I don't do it immediately after that. But I don't have anything to do with that by design because I coach football, and I tell the guys all the time, if it's something with your toes or your feet or something like that, I'm kind of look at you and you don't need all your toes and fingers, you know what I mean? But above your head, you don't run on your hands is what you tell them. Above your head, I don't mess with that. Anything with their neck or their head or anything. Yeah.
I've heard that
the new helmets are a major improvement over in concussions. Is that true? or-
They are, like, they're almost like, you guys wouldn't believe the inside of them, they're almost like a nice, really nice motorcycle helmet. You know, like the old football helmets were like just hard plastic in there. Now they're like almost like a motorcycle helmet with cushioning. Then you'll see some of the designs have like, it looks like a crack in there, but that's to displace the force. So when, that's like an Indy car flies apart when it crashes, to get all that force out of there. That's what those helmets are doing. And there's new ones every year. I mean, every year they come out there, and I've never seen these type of helmets before. But
Do you give them practice?
we don't have
Practice
those.
the NFL has?
We don't have those.
Mushrooms?
I worked at NC State, like I said, and Dave Dorn, the head coach there, they use them there, and they like them and all that. We don't use those. Yep.
So, this is your first year, so coming in, how did you initially meet your team, the players?
That's a good question.
And how did that how does that start?
So the first day on the job, you got to do three things. You got to recruit new players, right? You got to find a coaching staff. But the one that everybody forgets to do is you got to recruit your current roster. Those are the guys you already got. A lot of staffs, and I've been on new staffs, they just hit the road. Well, yeah, it's important, but you got to recruit the guys that are there. So I met with every kid individually. My first week in the job, every single kid had a 15-minute window, and I sat down and I said, you don't know me, I don't know you. So some of you, that's good for you, because you might have a bad reputation. Hey, you were the starter last year? Sorry, you're just another guy right now. We're all starting over, okay? And we kept one guy that had been there for a while, Coach Cheshire, and I told him, don't tell me anything about any of these kids. I don't want to know your opinion on them, because I want to form my own, okay? But I met with every kid for 15 minutes, and it's a guided thing. I gave them a piece of paper that said, give me 3 individual goals that you have. Give me 3 team goals, and give me 3 academic goals. Because that's easy to kind of get the discussion started. But I met with every kid, and then I met with every kid at the end of the spring as well individually and said, okay, here's where you're at in these goals. This is where I see you. Your goal is to be a starter. You're not close to that, because I'm brutally honest with them. At least they might be mad, but at least when they leave my office, they're going to respect me that I'm not lying to them, you know. Or hey, your goal is to be a backup. You got a shot to start this year, you know. So I met with every kid. But the great thing about that goal sheet is I want to get a 4.0. Okay, great. And then like 3 weeks in the semester, Sonia, our academic person, says he's missed 3 classes. So I said, come on in here. Well, you wrote this down, didn't you? Yes. Well, how are you going to get a 4.0 if you're missing class? I'll go to class. You know what I mean? You can hold them accountable to their goal. I didn't set the goals, they did. But that's how I started off with, yeah.
How many did we lose through the portal, and how many did we gain?
I don't know how many we lost, and I don't care. Because if they don't want to be here, they can go. We gained 7.
7.
I hate the transfer portal.
Oh, yeah, I think.
I hate
everybody
it.
does.
I hate it because it gives the kid an opportunity to quit. It gives, and I'm not going to bore you with these stories, but there's so many kids I've coached over the years that came in my office and said, I'm going to quit, and I said, stick it out, and they end up graduating, they end up being all pro. One of them playing in the NFL right now. But now they just want to quit because I'm going to take my ball and go somewhere else. All that being said, it's my job to put the best team on the field for Butler. So we do work in the transfer portal. Now what I'll tell you is this, we got a young staff, and they're really young and they're really hungry recruiters, and they come into me all the time. I got to sign off on anybody we take, and they come in and say, we got to get this guy, he's transferring out or whatever. And my first question is, okay, he quit on them once, why isn't he going to quit on you? Well, I think I can okay, just get out of here, I don't want it, okay? We have 4 graduate transfers. That's different to me. These guys went to Purdue, one of them went to Harvard, one of them went to Wake Forest, one of them went to Ball State. They went to their school, they played their 4 years, they got their degree, they took care of their end of the bargain, and now we're really marketable, that group, because they want to get a master's degree from Butler. Okay, so we got a little niche here. Don't tell the other schools in our league about it, because there's 2 years left. And there's COVID years. So a lot of these guys there's 2 more years of this left, would only have 1 year, they have 2. And grad school is a heck of a lot cheaper than undergrad. Because remember, my guys aren't getting any money. So I got to find the right kid that's a good student, wants to keep playing ball, wants to get his master's, and all of those kids that we have 2 years left. those 4 kids, so that's great. So I got all these young kids that I'm trying to babysit, but these older guys can kind of come in and show them, hey, this is what college football looks like. And they played at Purdue, they played at Wake, they played at Ball State. I mean, they played in programs that they know what football is supposed to look like. So I don't mind the portal for that, yeah.
What do you look for in special teams players?
I want my special teams, our special teams players are a lot of times our starters. I mean, they're the best, the best combination of speed and power on special teams, because those are in-space plays. I mean, your best athletes have to be on those teams. Like when we're kicking the ball off, we're expecting a guy to run full speed 55 yards and make a tackle in space on another really fast guy. You can't be stiff or slow on those teams. So it's to me, when we have a good team, and we're not there right now, this is just, I'm being honest with you, your special teams should be all your receivers, DBs, and running backs, and maybe a couple outside linebackers, a couple safeties. But you should be so athletic at those positions that they're all over your special teams.
And you not play special teams?
Yeah. Now, I was a special teams coordinator for a year, and those games are won and lost there.
I grew up with his son. His son
Yeah,
so
I got you.
athletic prowess, his touchdown was paternal buttons.
Well, if he's playing DN and on special teams, then he's probably pretty athletic to be able to do that. Yeah.
Do you feel at a disadvantage playing schools that have scholarships?
Oh yeah, for sure. We're still gonna go play them. Butler beat Youngstown State a few years ago. When I was a
Most
coach.
of your opponents have scholarships.
Well, our conference does not. Okay, so that's an even playing field right there. Okay, like Taylor and St. Thomas, the first 2 games, they're NAI schools. They have scholarships. In South Dakota State, they're fully funded. They got, I think 65 scholarships in 1AA now. So they're a different entity than us in terms of funding for football. But I don't feel at a disadvantage in our conference, but you still got to play the game. I was at University of St. Francis, little NAI school, and we went and beat Georgia State in the Georgia Dome, and they were fully funded 1AA team. Now, you can do that every year? No, but I don't feel a disadvantage, and I know that if you asked our players, they're going to get to go week 3, get on a charter plane, fly to South Dakota State, play in front of 33,000 people. They want to do that. They want to do that. You know what I mean? They want to see that. So a lot of the guys in my locker room think they should be playing there. Well, let's go see that. Let's go see how you match up. You know, it's like when I was at Northern Illinois in the MAC. We loved playing the Big Ten schools because they looked down on us, and our kids couldn't wait to play them. I mean, we beat Iowa, we beat Nebraska, and we beat Northwestern when I was at Northern. We weren't supposed to do that, but our kids were more up for that game than they were, because the Northwestern kids were looking ahead to some other game. Our kids, that was the Super Bowl. That was the game of the year. So I like those games, kind of. I don't want 9 of them. I'll take 1 of them. You know, not 9. Any other? Yeah, go ahead.
How many kids do you dress typically?
Well, home games, we dress them all. And that's my choice. Some schools don't dress their redshirt guys, but I just think that if you work your butt off all week, you deserve to run out of the tunnel with the helmet and shoulder pads on. And when we go on the road, it's only 60. And that's a conference rule. We only get to bring 60, and that's obviously somewhat budgetary too, because if you're bringing 80, it just costs more. So the conference all agrees to say 60 is what you can take. Yep.
What are your thoughts on NIL?
I hate it. I'm not, a very good friend of mine, not Coach Dorn, another guy, I'm not gonna tell you where he's at, but he's a head coach in the ACC. And I GA'd for him, I've known him for 25 years, and I talked to him right before the season, wished him good luck, and I said, how's it going? He said, well, I just had a kid leave my office and say, you know, the bidding starts at $300,000. So, I mean, what are we doing? You know what I mean? And you know the kids are gonna get this money. They're not being educated on that they actually gotta pay taxes on it. Because someone in their family's taking that money. I mean, there's so many things, can of worms there. Like the government doesn't tax full ride scholarships. They just always kind of let that go. They just kind of let that go, which I'm agreement with, okay? But now when you start making money for NIL, does that scholarship get added to that as income? Because you're getting paid to play now. There's so much to it. I just think that the experience of playing college football, the degree, the travel, the places you go, the gear, the meals, all of that, that's compensation. And you're mad that these coaches are making all that money? Well, yeah, they are, because they're CEOs, and Nick Saban, whatever he's getting paid, ain't enough. Because he's the CEO of that institution, that football program, and that football program is paying for every other kid in that department to have that experience. Alabama's softball team is fed, dressed, and equipped as well as anybody in America, and that's with football money. That's okay. That's how it works. But to start paying is just, I don't know. I hate it, but I'm old-fashioned, so. It's not going away, though, I can promise you that. Once the cat's out of the bag, it's over. Yeah.
So it's soccer. Did you watch Ted Lasso? Have you seen any Ted Lasso over the past couple of years?
So I don't watch TV.
Not football. But
My aunt, every time my godmother has told me 5 times, you gotta watch Ted Lasso. But I don't watch TV.
So you've heard it today, yeah, and you're bored. But so one of his lines, he's getting interviewed, and he's like, well, you know, I don't really care if we win or lose. I want these kids to become the best versions of themselves.
Yeah.
And he keeps coming back, or supporting staff is getting upset with him. Like, it does matter for our jobs, for their
Yeah.
careers. So how do you gotta balance producing the best individual student and young man versus winning at all costs?
Well, I don't think you'd ever want to. I'm the most competitive person you'll ever meet. Like, I won't let my kids win a game against me. If I'm playing my mom in checkers, there's no way I'm letting her win. Like, that's just that's how I was raised. I'm going to try to win everything that I do. But you can do it and still have integrity and still play by the rules. Okay, the NCAA gives us 20 hours a week with these guys. I use 19 hours and 59 minutes. I use every single minute I can, but I'm not going to cheat. And I tell our coaches all the time in recruiting, guys, it's not worth it. Because when we do get good and when we do turn the corner, I don't want anybody to say, even if you made a mistake, that they can justify our success that we were cheating. So I think you can do all of those. It's been proven way too many times. And honestly, when you have good kids and you're teaching them those lessons and you're training them to do things right, they play better anyways. They play better anyways. Accountable people perform better. I don't care what you guys do for a living. If you work with somebody that you can't count on, you don't want to work with them. If you know that person's going to get the job done every time to the best of their ability, even if it's not perfect, you know they gave everything they had, you can work with that person.
So what do you say, that effort, attitude, accountability?
Yeah, I say those all the time to those guys. Because those require, I'm saying it again, zero talent. Zero talent to do any of those. It didn't say you got to run a 4.40. It didn't say you got to be 300 pounds. It just said control what you can control. Now, I got to recruit good players, right? That's part of it. Okay, but I get to pick the players too. So if we got a bunch of discipline issues, that's on me. I picked them. Yep.
What are your goals for this season and as well as for the next several seasons for your career at Butler?
Well, my goal right now is to win every game we play. And you guys can laugh at that, but I just told the team last night, it's 11 one-game seasons. That's why football is the greatest sport in the world. Coach knows this. There's different challenges every single week. We're playing a team that's coming over from Florida that's way more athletic than us. Way more athletic. They're not nearly as disciplined as us. Okay? So what's our edge this week? Man, we got to shift, trade, motion. We got to not turn the ball over. We got to be really disciplined. Week 2, we play a completely different defense at Taylor, okay? That's going to provide different challenges. And also week 1, there's going to be some guys that get hurt. So there's some guys that we thought were going to be there all year that aren't. So then week 2. Then week 3, some guys are coming back from injury. There's all of these moving parts. But when we go to work on Sunday night, we are trying to, it's a one-game season. You can't look ahead and you can't look back. It's 11 one-game season. That's why I love it. So I know that's a generic answer, but my goal is to win every game we play. And it starts on that Sunday. And really my goal right now is to win this next game. And then at the end of the year, you got to look back with your staff and evaluate. Hey, this was good. Like, we did this on defense this year. This was dumb. We got to change that. You got to do a self-scout at the end of the year. But when you're in the middle of it, that ain't the time. That ain't the time. You watch the film, you see what you got to fix, and then you got to get ready. Like, there's guys on our team that will play a lot in the first game. I can tell you right now, our tight ends are going to play a lot in the first game. Week 2 against Taylor, they play a different defense. We're going to spread them out. The guy might go from 65 plays to 6, and he might go back in the next week. So it's the different challenges. And every job I've ever worked in terms of my plans at Butler, I've never planned on leaving. Sometimes you get opportunities in life that you can't say no to, and most of the time you get opportunities and you sit down with your wife and kids and be like, I'm not doing that. You know, I have a son that's a sophomore right now. I'd really love to get him through high school here. And then you've kind of been here a while, and then you just stay. It's just, you never know. They might, in coaching, they might tell you to leave too. You don't know. You know what I mean? People get fired, it is what it is. Any other questions? Yep.
Coach, the Pioneer League, in my opinion, is one of the most geographically.
I tell everybody it's the widest conference in America. I don't know if that's true, but from San Diego to
Davidson.
Stetson in Florida, I don't know that anybody would be wider, yeah.
So just gonna ask you about that dynamic, because one week you may be in California, the next North Carolina, but also in terms of the academics, which do mean a lot at Butler, in terms of that schedule can be difficult on student athletes.
It can, but honestly, football has it the easiest out of all the travel, because we only play on Saturdays. So you're flying out on a Friday, you're playing on Saturday, you're getting back. Not easiest is not easy, maybe not the right word. Where basketball, baseball, softball, these guys are out for 5, 6, 7 days at a time. So I don't look at the football travel as that difficult compared to the other sports, but like our schedule this year, the conference did not help us. So we fly to San Diego, we play a game there, we fly back, and we get back at like 3 in the morning, and then we drive to Drake 7 hours the next week. Like or 8 hours. I want to talk to the commissioner. I want to ask him. I haven't been to a conference meeting yet, but I'm going to say, why would you do this to somebody? Like, you should have some sort of rule on this, but they don't care. And you know what I tell them? No one's going to care. We got to perform anyways. But yeah, I think we have, in our freshman class that's coming to Butler this year, we have kids from 14 different states. So because of our conferences, we got a kid from Arizona. He's like, yeah, I can get up to San Diego and watch him play a couple times. You know, like we got kids from all over. So I kind of think that's an advantage a little bit too, because people have heard of you, and you might, like we got 4 kids from Raleigh, North Carolina. That's not that far from Davidson. You know? Yep.
You grade each player each week on performance.
Every player, every play. Yep.
What is it? Is it like
Plus or minus,
no,
pretty simple. Plus or minus. Got the job done or you didn't. Your job's to block that guy. Did he make the tackle? Well, did you go the right way, first of all? did he make the tackle? No, you get a plus. Did he miss? Did he make it? Minus. And then the coaches all do that. I watch both sides of the ball, but obviously each coach grades their position individually. What I do in training camp, because I'm the offensive coordinator, I call the plays on offense. So I spend all week with the offense, and then Sunday's the player's off day. We can only meet with them for 2 hours. So then I go Sunday and I watch all the practices from the defensive perspective. And then I go in there with the notepad and I know they're all like, oh, here he comes. And I just say, just think about these 3 things, because sometimes when you're removed from the situation, you see things differently. And you don't have to do them, just here they are, and I leave. But our defensive coordinator and I have known each other forever, so we got a real good relationship. Yep.
How many assistants do you have, and do you call the plays?
I call plays on offense, and we have 9 assistants. And then we have a woman that works with us, Kira Miller, who's our director of football initiatives, and she's the best. She does everything. Everything that isn't X's and O's, she helps us with, which has been great for us. And especially at Butler, there's some unique challenges with how good the school is and getting transcripts and getting kids in and financial aid and all that. She does a lot of that. She does the travel. Yeah, she's the most valuable person in the building. I tell her and the coaches that all the time.
So, Coach, is Graham working hard enough? is he drumming up enough to work well?
I was telling my wife, as soon as the new football building's built, then I'll say he's gonna come in.
There you go. All right.
Anything else? Yes.
I got a question, not about football, about you.
Okay.
I see you have 3 children.
Yep.
How old are they? And
My daughter, we were just talking when we were eating lunch. It's been a tough week for my wife. My daughter is going to be a senior, but we sent her back to the high school that she's been going to the last 3 years when I was coaching at Temple. So my wife had to drive her out there Sunday and drop her off. She's staying with family, friends, that she'll be great and all that, but it's like college 7 months early. So she's a really good student. She's actually looking at maybe going to Butler. Her choice right now are Butler, Villanova, or Notre Dame. My son's a sophomore at Cathedral. He plays football in Russell's. And then my youngest son's a 5th grader. He plays football and he wrestles too. He's got football going on right now. I get to actually, tonight, because we're doing a walkthrough, I'll be able to get over there and pick him up and see like the last 10 minutes of his practice. So that'll be fun. But he he came home with his head down the first day, because back in New Jersey, he was a running back, and the coach had him at guard. And he was like, I'm not a guard, Dad. I said, you do whatever the coach tells you. You just play, you know, and then after 3 days, they moved him to running back, so he was a lot happier. Yeah. He wanted the ball. He wanted the ball in his hands, so. And my wife, she's from Illinois, Chicago. We both went to high school together, and she went to Purdue as well. So, and she's happy to be here because she's really close to all of her family and her sorority sisters. So, thank you for having me out here. I appreciate it.
Go away. Thank you so much. That was a fun presentation. We are going to make a donation in your honor to Any Given Child Indy, which is an Arts Council of Indianapolis initiative, ensuring that all 22,000 IPS K through 8 kids have equitable access to the creative arts. And I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to answer it honestly.
Okay.
Has your mother ever beat you at checkers?
She has not, and she's competitive too. But she has not.
Here is a certificate, and thanks for
Thank you.
your being with us.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
We will be back at the Columbia Club next week. Have a wonderful weekend, end of the week. Beautiful weather, I think. So we are really being spoiled. Take advantage.